20-somethings who are either married or in committed relationships who say their unions are more secure and more honest because they don't believe in monogamy.
I just took off my clothes and I had to do it.
We're talking about swinging, or as it's known now, living in the lifestyle.
We're gonna have to get you some punani.
Technically, an orgy requires a minimum of 6 participants.
What about my three-way?
This is a new generation of swingers.
Waves of it coming at you on Friday, Saturday. By Sunday, your nuts gonna be drained.
Oh, my God. Oh.
You're doing a sound check?
Hmm?
Have you done a sound check?
Yes,
You
I did.
Okay.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Swingin' Around, episode 11, the sex-positive podcast about swinging and sex. I'm Cal.
And I'm JB. So today's podcast is going to be all about swinger attire. So you might be thinking to yourself, how can you do an entire podcast about swinging clothes? Well, just
How can I
wait
do
and
an
find
entire
out.
podcast about swinging clothes?
Oh, I'll answer that question. But not yet. We have to do our lifestyle chat first. So
what's up?
Well, I mean, in the last episode, for those of you who may or may not have listened to episode 10, we dropped the news that I'm pregnant, and I'm
Drop the bomb.
We dropped the bomb. So I'm far enough along that we're not playing with any other couples right now. Number one, I don't think anybody's going to find me particularly sexy unless they've got a pregnancy fetish, which is fine.
Plenty of people like
That's true.
pregnant women.
They do. But number two, we both mentioned this in the last podcast. It's not something we're comfortable with. So
No.
So we're not actively playing right now. And I have to admit, this drought, it's a little rough on me. Because number one, I've given up a lot of foods that I enjoy. I like sushi. I like alcohol, beer, wine, liquor. I like these things.
Yeah,
And I've had to give them all up. But on top of that, I've had to give up swinging. So I've had to give up sucking on other cocks. I've had to give up just the atmosphere, and it's rough. I have to admit, I don't envy anybody who's in any kind of program for withdrawal or anyone who goes through Alcoholics Anonymous or anything where you have to give up some sort of vice. Not that I'm attributing any of these things to a vice, because they're not, but it's rough. So during one of my earlier masturbation sessions, I found myself with 2 dildos because I had to put one in each hole. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but
doubling up.
Yeah, it's funny. That's not something that we've done in our regular swinging time, but I imagine. I imagine we'll get to that.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the ass play with?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean DP?
Yeah, DP in general. But it's to quote from someone else's profile that we've seen recently. It's on the menu.
Yeah.
I liked the way that was put. So one of the other things that I wanted to bring up is
hold on. I don't get to say that I like.
Oh, are you having a hard time with the drought
too? It's been a drought for me as well.
True.
I haven't had to give up.
It has not been a blowjob drought, though. You can admit that.
Well, from
me,
from you,
from Strange, yes.
Yeah, I could go for some swinging fun. So yeah, it's interesting because nobody's like, I've never heard anybody talk about that, because you hear about, there's sitcoms.
Who would you talk to?
Exactly,
about
that's
it?
what I'm saying. Like, you see, like on TV or whatever, like you've seen women joke about not being able to drink, or the things that they have to give up when they're pregnant, or the men have to give up while their women are pregnant, and then, but you never hear about the swingers who have to give up playing with others when they're pregnant.
and it's not like I can go and complain about it to my friends who've been pregnant. They wouldn't understand, and maybe they would, but I don't know it. So
yeah.
So and then the other topic that I want to talk about, it's not swinging related, but it's just something that kind of annoyed me, and I wanted to bring it up because it's sex related. As we were watching Everybody Loves Raymond, we've been going back and watching it through Netflix, catching up on past episodes, and
we're marathoning. Everybody Loves Raymond.
And I have to admit, we're at a point where it's increasingly funny, just because we can relate more to the characters now than ever before. And then we got to this episode where Deborah, who is Raymond's wife, was going to like a step aerobics type class, and 3 times in 1 week after getting back from this class, she was revved up and ready for sex. And Raymond, all he knew was that she was revved up and ready for sex, and he didn't necessarily put 2 and 2 together right away. But then once he figured it out, he was actually pretty hurt and angry with her that she would come home from this aerobics class and be ready to go, and essentially she just like pounced on him. And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, why? Why is he so upset that she's coming home excited? And, I mean, the episode played out where he thought that she was getting revved up because the aerobics instructor was pretty hot, and she said that she was getting revved up just because she was, number one, the endorphins were flowing, and number two, she was feeling good about herself, which made herself feel sexy. But I think either one of those reasons is perfectly valid to come home and jump the bones of your partner. I mean, what do you think?
No, I agree. Anything that gets you hot and bothered and you come home to me, then that's hot. So
and someone in the episode, I think it was Raymond's brother or somebody, said, like, who cares where she's getting revved up as long as she's coming home to you? And I completely agree with that. So it's just one of the problems with society and with sitcoms and colloquial programming. It's just these tropes that they have in TV about how a marriage should be and how women should feel and how men should feel and how they should react. And it's like, those are what feed the insecurities that people have in their marriage and hold them back from swinging.
Yeah, because it is crazy when you think about it, because everybody knows TV's fake. Everybody knows films are fake, but people get a lot of their relationship information from that. It's like there's some root of reality in it, and that's what makes it funny. I mean, that's why comedy is funny, because there's some truth to it. But I think, especially like in that situation, there's more fallacy than truth, unfortunately, because it's telling people that that's how they should be, and then people feel guilty when they don't feel that way. And Everybody Loves Raymond is one of those shows. It's hilarious, but it really does have all those tropes that plague sitcoms. There was the episode just recently, I think we had started season 4, when Deborah got the boob job, and the whole episode was just to trick Raymond into thinking she got a boob job, and then getting upset at him.
When he compliments her on the boob job.
Because he's excited.
Yep. She tricks him into thinking that she got this boob job done. He compliments her on how good it looks. But he was in a catch-22 situation, because if he had told her it looked bad and she really had it done, then here she went and spent thousands of dollars and went through the pain in the surgical procedure just to have him tell her it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
There was nothing he could have said.
There was no win there, and that's the sitcom aspect that, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. That's what the type of situations they want to put their characters in. But it feeds into society, and then society's views create the writers' views who write the show, but then the show influences people's thinking. They see things on TV and think that that's the common norm, and that's how relationships work, and how...
you see that, and then you think, well, that's how I'm supposed to be, because that's what the sitcoms say I should be. And I don't think people consciously make that decision. Like, I don't think anybody sits down, watches that kind of a show, and says, oh, that's how I need to react. I think it gets into your subconscious and your psyche, and then you react that way without realizing where that initial belief about how you're supposed to behave came from.
And I think especially influences individuals in their formative teenage years when they don't know exactly how relationships work, and the only exposure they might have had is through these sitcoms and then these, the colloquial things just perpetuate. And
how the hell did I turn out normal? I can't tell you how many romantic comedies I watched as a teenager in high school. Between that and watching Friends, I mean, that really had to have warped my idea of relationships and sex. Good show, don't get me wrong, but still.
So I wanted to talk about something, too, before we move on into our main topic. I wanted to talk about, it was interesting, we were watching an episode of Swing yesterday.
That's how we get our swinging in these days.
Was it yesterday? Oh, yeah.
We had our no-pants couch time.
Yeah, we're living vicariously through the individuals on that show right now. Yeah. But, so it was really fascinating, because they had a couple on there, finally... a couple who wanted to do more than just have the girl play while the guy sits there and watches.
Yeah, they want to do a full swap.
They want to do a full swap, and then... They're
not the first couple that wanted that. No, they've been few and far between.
You go droughts between where the guys don't want to...
I think there was more in the first season than the second so far.
But the male in the couple on the show was raised in a open household where his parents were swingers, and They might have been polyamorous. I mean, he described it as being open, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means swinger, polyamory, or.
Yeah, he kind of interchanged his words a little bit at some points. Like sometimes he said they were in the lifestyle. I think at least once he referred to them as swingers.
Mm-hmm.
But then at one point he also mentioned that he had a half sister who was raised as his sister, but was born with the best friend as a father, so something like that. It sounded like there was a swinger child in the mix, or a polyamorous child in the mix.
It sounded more like a polyamorous relationship that was going on, but I just don't know if he had the vocabulary and the experience to know exactly the relationship that his parents had.
It was a non-monogamous relationship, non-monogamous relationship from his
very
parents.
interesting to see somebody who's his entire life, his parents were open from the beginning. They didn't hide anything. They were out and open, and it seemed to be as much as you can glean from the personalities of the individuals on Swing in an hour show, he seemed to be a well-adjusted individual, and
he seemed to have a normal, I say that with air quotes because what is normal, but he seemed to have a strong, loving relationship with a partner.
Yeah, exactly.
And it initially monogamous, although they were exploring the non-monogamous side of things.
Yeah, he's still very much interested in having a primary, and they were married, so a spouse, and then exploring the non-monogamy aspect.
Yeah,
and then,
not only married, but high school sweethearts.
Exactly, and his wife had come from the more traditional. Her parents were monogamous, and that's all she knew. But it was
I believe they were also stricter in their religious beliefs too.
I would love to interview or see somebody was raised like that, to see an interview with them and how that influences their views on relationships and lifelong. And I mean, he definitely seemed like he wanted to have a primary partner that he's with, but then also explore non-monogamy through swinging. And
it seemed like he's had good experiences with it, such that his parents were still together, and he's seen other friends and family members experience divorce, and they still have a strong relationship. So he's seen the positive impact of the lifestyle, which is fantastic.
Exactly.
I still stand by the decision that we are at this point, which is to stay in the closet, so to speak.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to share that with family or friends.
It's a tough road to go down. That you want to be open and honest, and this is the lifestyle that we believe is best for us, and that fits for us, and that actually probably fits for many more people than who actually realize it. Mm-hmm. But as two individuals who weren't raised with anything like that, it's such a foreign concept to actually consider raising a child like that. I don't think either one of us. It seems maybe it's a little cowardly, maybe it's a little, little hypocritical if we think what is the right way, and then we hide that and hope that maybe they find out on their own, or I don't know, maybe
I wouldn't say that swinging is the right way. I would just say that swinging's our way.
Well, it's our way, but
staying in a monogamous relationship isn't necessarily wrong.
No, if that works for both people.
Unless both people want to pursue something
But with
non-monogamous.
the amount of cheating, clearly we know that it doesn't work for
everybody.
Quite a few people.
Yeah.
The majority of people probably.
I think there's a good portion of the population out there who would benefit from being non-monogamous.
But who knows? I think
there's people who are monogamous and perfectly happy about it as well.
As our children grow, and as we grow as sex-positive parents and teach, who knows where our journey is going to take us.
Yeah, we might get caught. Who knows what'll happen.
We can't imagine. I can't picture a scenario where I'd be comfortable just having the people that we play with over and having it known that these are
our sexual partners.
Because when they're young, you wouldn't even bring that up anyways.
I think it would be...
But when they're teenage age, I don't know, you wouldn't... So...
I think children have a hard time processing... Children have a hard enough time learning and processing what sex is in general, especially when it's delivered in the manner of, well, when two people love each other, then they do this act, or when two people fall in love or whatever. That's kind of, again, that's the TV aspect. We haven't had that talk with anybody yet, so I don't know how we'll phrase it. Probably not like that. But if you do phrase it that way, and then all of a sudden daddy's with a different woman, then children automatically think, well, daddy doesn't love mommy, or daddy loves this other woman, and then they just get confused. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to grow and see where our journey takes us in sex positive parenting.
Yeah. So, if any of you have experience or have had experiences, we'd love to hear about it. Right in.
I'm sure we have listeners I guarantee we have listeners who have children, because just given the average age of swingers, I know probably a good number of you out there have children and have had to grapple with these issues. And
I was thinking if any of our listeners had parents who were swingers.
Oh, the other way around. So,
yeah, I was thinking of it from if your parents were swingers, how did it go down for you?
Write in. We would love to hear either story. Write in about if you grew up in an open household, and how that's affected you and influenced you as an adult in your adult relationships. And then also, for those of you who are parents, write in, let us know how you handle the sex-positive parenting and how you handle the openness with your children, if they know anything about your lifestyle, if they don't.
And we'll definitely explore this topic more, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and move on to swinger attire.
Okay. So I led into the beginning of this topic earlier in this episode going, how can you spend an entire episode dedicated to swinger wear? And really, I think we can, because it's such a main part of swinging.
It's a huge
It's part of the swinging culture, really, and it's not something that I really knew about or thought about until after we'd been to probably 2 or 3 parties, and then realized how much the attire is a part of the culture. So for me, the different clothes that you wear are really an opportunity for you to act out different fantasies, for you to be somebody that you might not normally be. It's kind of an opportunity to dress to impress, a time to be sexy when you might not normally be as sexy. I work in an office type environment for a larger company, and we have a business casual dress code, so I very rarely show cleavage at work. I tend to wear pants rather than skirts just because I'm more comfortable that way. I do wear heels, but heels with pants are not as sexy. So, I mean, unless you and I are going on a date, I don't really have a lot of opportunity to dress sexily, except in the bedroom. So to me, swinger parties and swinger clothing is an opportunity for me to do something and be something I don't normally do.
Yeah, you can really let your inhibitions go and have fun and explore an aspect of, get to have fun and dress in a way that you don't normally get to in your normal everyday life for the most part.
Right, and there's some fringe benefits of swinger attire too, and one of those for me has been improving my self-esteem. So moving myself outside of my comfort zone a little bit initially, and it takes baby steps, and I think we've talked about that before, where maybe you'll start off with a shirt that has a little bit more cleavage than you'd normally wear, and you might be slightly uncomfortable about it, but not terribly uncomfortable, maybe just a tad bit, just a little bit. And then you go to the party and you get a great response. Mm-hmm. Like, not only does your partner find you incredibly sexy, but then other people do. And then that pushes you to open up your comfort zone a little bit more, to maybe undo a button on your shirt, or another button on your shirt, and you just push it a little bit more and a little bit more, and it makes you less inhibited, it makes you more confident.
Now for women, I feel like this is definitely something that's more of an issue for the women, who it's always encouraged to dress less and less and sexier and sheerer and sheerer. Mm-hmm. At the first few parties we went to, were you intimidated, or not intimidated? That's not the right word, but overwhelmed.
That word can apply.
Overwhelmed with the the amount of skin that it's expected for women to show.
Yes, I definitely was. I came from a somewhat conservative background. I dress conservatively. One time you challenged me and told me I dressed like a lesbian.
Oh, that was...
No offense to you lesbians out there. There's plenty of hot clothing. It was a baggier set of shorts and
it was back when we were dating and you were wearing a
basketball jersey, and it was not the most becoming outfit, I suppose. But to get my point across, I guess, is that I haven't always been the most sexily dressed. So going to a party initially, or the first couple of parties, it was a little bit scary. And part of that's because there's, to me, and I think you'll agree with this, there's levels and spectrums of sexiness, all the way down to the probably not wearing enough clothes to could stand to be wearing fewer clothes. There's a whole wide range, and I think what was most, to use your word initially, intimidating, because I think that's the right word to use here, were the women who were what I would now consider to be wearing not enough clothes. Like, I remember one woman in particular at one of the parties that we've been to was wearing, like, an outfit that was pretty much made entirely out of string. And, I mean, the distance between each thin piece of string was probably 4 to 6 inches. I mean, there's very, very little of her body covered.
Yeah.
To the point where the bouncers told her that there were certain parts of the hotel she could not go to without putting a coat on.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's very common if you're at a hotel party that hasn't taken over the entire hotel.
Yeah, stay out of the lobby, stay out of some of the areas that could be common to other guests.
And part of what I always go back to is in terms of if a woman's not wearing enough clothes, or it usually applies to women, unfortunately, that because the men, we'll get to the men's attire, but it's different than the women's. But what I always go back to is if I personally think that somebody's not wearing enough clothes, I always think that, well, good for them if that's what they're comfortable wearing here.
Yeah, it all comes down to comfort.
So I want to stress that too, that while this is our podcast, we're voicing our opinions, and so we're gonna preface that with these are our opinions, but it's encouraged to wear whatever you feel comfortable wearing to the parties. If you feel, because these are places to let go and to go and have fun and let your inhibitions be wild and free.
Although I have to say, I think some outfits are sexier than others.
Well, definitely. I mean,
I do applaud the women who choose to wear less clothing.
That was kind of the disclaimer.
Yeah.
That we
you may disagree with what we think.
You may disagree, but there is a little bit too much because you want to keep it. It is fun also to imagine what you're not seeing, and so if you're,
I think the vagina should be covered, and I think,
but barely,
at least, but barely, and I think at least half of the ass should be covered. I don't have a problem, and I think it's pretty hot sometimes when you see like the bottom round of the ass cheek.
Oh yeah,
like where the ass cheek meets the top of the upper thigh. That's pretty hot.
I like it when a girl's dress is short enough where the ass is covered, but then as she's dancing or whatever, it rides up, and you see that round. You see that
the round little bottom cheek just kind of sticks out just a tad little bit. And one of our first swinger parties, I think it was maybe the second or the third party, the theme was camo and hunting, and we bought a camouflage skirt off Amazon so that I could wear that. And when it came in, the inseam on it was probably about 3 inches, which basically means it rides your hips and just barely comes down below the puss. I mean, it was just about at that level where you said it covers the ass, but then if you move, your cheeks are out. And I wouldn't wear it. I didn't wear it to the party. I was uncomfortable. I knew that the whole time I'd be pulling it down, messing with it, wishing I was wearing different underwear.
Although, to be fair,
and now I'd be more comfortable with it.
I was going to say, I think that was one of the earlier parties, and now you would be more comfortable. I think that's about as short as you'd probably feel comfortable going.
Right. Well, and part of it's not only coming back to comfort, but it comes back to just looking sexy, and that's what we think looks sexy.
Yeah, looking sexy, but then I also like it when a woman looks sexy, but also maintains that level of class.
Right.
I agree. That's just a preference, and so that's sort of where we lie on that spectrum.
Yeah. So for those of you who may be new to swinging, what do we mean by swinging attire? I mean, it's a spectrum.
Haven't that what we've been talking about for?
I know, but types of clothing. We haven't really said what that is, and it depends on the party you're going to.
Does a stripper wear it? Then check.
If a stripper could wear it, but at the same time, I pick up a lot of my clothes at Express or at like a Macy's or whatever.
That's true. It's all about how you
some lower cut shirts, some shirts that you might wear to work with a jacket.
Yeah, unbutton 2 or 3 buttons on that.
Unbutton 2 or 3 buttons and put on a short little skirt. Not a pencil skirt, but a short little flowy skirt and some hooker heels, and you've got yourself an outfit.
I like it when you're wearing the button-up shirt that's not buttoned up far enough, and you got that bra, that sexy-ass bra.
With the bra poking out.
The lace, I love it.
And that's a great outfit to change up throughout the night. So let's say you're going to a party, and it's initially going to be dinner with couples, and it may or may not be in a public place, so you want to be sexy, but you can't be too explicit because you can't have nudity if you're going out to a bar or whatever, let's say for a meet and greet.
Yeah.
So you wear a shorter pair of heels, you wear a regular length skirt, and you wear a button-down shirt, let's say, for example. Then you leave dinner, and now you're going over to the party, maybe a pre-party, some mingling in the hotel room before the actual party. You stop in your room, you exchange your short heels for a pair of higher heels. You change your skirt into something a little bit shorter, and you undo the top 3 buttons in your blouse, so your bra's sticking out a little bit. And now you've just gone from sexy to swinger.
Indeed.
You've transformed. So, I mean, I think the height of the heel really contributes to the overall look. Of course, there's a limit to that because you need to be able to walk and dance in them too. So, again, it comes back to comfort. And I think...
Although, as a guy, I think the higher the heel, the fucking hotter it is. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So let's throw out there some of the best things that we look for, that we think make the best swinger clothes, and some of the things that we think make the worst. So what do you think, Cal?
For guys or girls?
For girls first, then we'll go on to guys.
Well, I don't know. I don't have the minutia down for women's clothes. I just know like some outfits, and I don't like the schoolgirl stuff. I know I mentioned that, but
yeah. But other people do, and that's fine. I mean, what makes an outfit to you? Heels and skirt length, you think?
Short skirt with definitely need to see some cleavage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, fashion isn't too much. I just know, like, I'm a man, so I just know what aesthetically looks good in my eyes.
And I guess that comes down to
if it looks sexy and hot, then
that's where the themes come in too, because the themes give you an opportunity to try out different costumes and role play a little bit. But there's been times where I haven't followed the theme for a party and still looked incredibly hot. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
So you don't have to break the bank on swinger wear by any means to look good. And you don't have to be worried about what a particular theme is. I mean, it's fun to participate in the themes, but if you don't have anything that's really into the theme, like camouflage, for example, if you don't have anything, pull out a green shirt and a black skirt, or, even just stick to black and white, and you can still be incredibly hot and still fit in with the party and be okay. So yeah. I think a good piece of advice, especially for people who might be on a budget, if you've got kids, you got to pay a babysitter. If you're getting the hotel room too, you got to get the liquor, you got to pay to go to the party. That's all expensive. To get clothing on top of that, it's hard to do. Yeah. So just repurpose some of those office outfits that you wear, unbutton some shirts, or I think a really sexy look is the shirt dress. So you can take one of your husband's shirts, wear that only with a pair of sexy underwear underneath, and use a tie as a belt to cinch it at the waist, undo the first few buttons, and you have yourself a sexy little shirt dress that's easy to take off at the end of the night.
That is it's incredibly hot look.
It is, yeah. So, and just a couple of things that I think make the worst dress list, and that's being uncomfortable. There's nothing worse than a woman who's uncomfortable and not planning for the number of people at the event or how hot it might be. A couple parties ago, one of the women we were with wore jeans, and she wore tight jeans and boots up to her knee, and she was hot, and she had no way to escape. I mean, she looked good, but she was sweating balls. So, and she even said, like, I need to change. This is ridiculous. Why did I wear pants?
Yeah.
So that's yet another practical reason to wear a skirt.
Yeah. In personal preference, I don't advocate the pants on a woman just because my hands need to wander.
You can stay on the outside.
Yeah.
You can still rub a clit pretty well.
I've seen plenty of women who are wearing some sexy hot pants that look real good, but
it's pretty rare to see pants though on a woman.
No, it is. And I think...
Oh, and naked can be done if you're body painted. We have seen some completely naked women who were not slutty or anything. They were pretty classy, actually, just because they'd been body painted.
That's true. That doesn't... that's completely true. They're incredibly hot, and although body painting is a little bit outside the realm of just normal swinger attire, you got to plan for that, or there's going to be a body painter there at the party. So that's a little bit tougher to work out ahead of time, unless you got to do that. Yeah. Just before the party too.
Yep.
Plus, I don't know how the maintenance is on that. Like if they sweating, I don't
know. Does it make it drip? That'd be bad.
None of the women you haven't got body painted. I think next time we go to Desire or somewhere where there's body paint, I would like to see you get some hot body paint.
I got to get my post baby body in shape before that happens. But I'm not opposed to it. So let's move on to talking about men's swinger wear.
I know.
Men's swinger wear is a little bit harder to talk about because men don't usually participate as much in the themes. I mean, when you look at Halloween costume availability, the men's selection is like a 10th, if that, maybe a 5th of the women's Halloween costume selection.
For the most part, like, if we're gonna go Halloween, all of the men's Halloween costumes are, for the most part, they're usually always just trying to be funny. I
don't know.
Well, no, I don't mean at the
party. Women are easy creatures to read when it comes to what we like in men, or at least I am. And I want a hardcore, hard-bodied, sexy, gruff, dirty man.
But no, what I mean, though, is if you go and look at, let's say, a Lover's Lane or an Adam and Eve or any of those catalogs or online around Halloween time, you look at the women, you're just going to see slutty outfits, slutty this, slutty that, sexy this, sexy that. And for men...
Slutty pumpkin.
Hi, I'm your mother reference. So if you... look at the men's section, you're going to see maybe 10%
just don't come as the hanging Chad.
You're going to see maybe 10% sexy outfits and about 90%. I mean, that ratio is off a little bit, but you're going to see, like, the funny...
the guy with the giant penis, or the vag inspector, or the FBI agent who's the female body inspector, or the clown, or stupid shit. Yeah, it's...
But we're not really talking about Halloween attire anyway. We're talking about normal attire, and...
Yeah.
So what do you like to see on a guy?
I like to see...
I know if you like to see Ed Hardy shirts, there's plenty of those.
No, it's not really my style, but I like to see a guy who looks like he's put some time and some effort into his outfit. I mean, really that's what I like to see, is a guy who I can tell he's shaved, I can tell... Dogs, stop it. Sorry. I can tell that the guy has put some cologne on. He's bothered to put on a pair of nice dress shoes. You wouldn't believe how many people just wear tennis shoes. It drives me crazy. A guy who's bothered to wear a pair of pants that fit him, with, that doesn't have the crotch hanging too low. It shows a little ass. I like to see some ass cheek.
You like tight pants.
I do. Not so tight where you can see the package in the front or they look uncomfortable, but tight enough where there's some ass.
You like to see a package.
I like to see a package in the after party. Where
you like to see some tight jeans where you could see the cock.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. Just some effort is number one for me. Is show some effort. I don't particularly care for guys in wholly ripped clothes. The caveat to that is if you're like the construction worker, or I mean, sometimes it can just work if you're wearing the ripped jeans with a nice shirt, like a nice tight shirt, but not like the stained wife beater style.
Yeah, there's a lot less options for guys. I mean that's true of just everyday life as well. And so I think a go-to, which is always a winner, is just a nice pair of dress pants, fitted button-down t-shirt. And that's a key word, is fitted there, because I've seen a lot of guys who wear the button-down shirt, but they wear like the shirt that they would wear to work. Yeah, where it's a little bit baggy, it's maybe a little wrinkled, or it's like the flannel plaid style, and it's like, no, just get a nice solid color. Yeah, solid color, but I think it's always better if you have get a shirt that fits your body. If you have an athletic build, get the athletic
if you have a skinny build, get a skinny shirt.
You don't want the standard poof that you get at the bottom when you tuck in a shirt if it's too big, and that's. Unfortunately, you can spend a lot of money. You can go and spend a lot of money on not a t-shirt, but on a dress shirt, and even though the material is great, they're not fitted shirts, and so they just don't have that. Yeah. You look like you're going to the board meeting. You don't have that knockers. You don't have that nightclub, sexy look that you're trying to go for, and so yes, dress shoes, dress pants, a nice belt, and a couple of buttons a little bit on the top, but not so much so where the chest hair is poofing out. Mm-hmm. Keep the chest hair at bay. That's me. Some women like that, but I prefer to keep the chest hair tame. And if there is a theme, it's not a bad idea to try and match up with the theme at least a little bit. Yeah. I mean, when it's a hunting theme, that's ideal for men. No, I disagree. You have hunting stuff. Because they make a lot of sexy camo, and for some, like we've talked about the hunting, camo theme multiple times. It's hot though if a guy wears a nice pair of tight jeans, some. Maybe in that case it'd be an opportunity to wear some Carhartt shoes or something, maybe not dress shoes, and then get yourself one of those orange hunting vests and just wear that. Or that with a nice tight white t-shirt. That's hot.
Show that you're a man. I mean, to me, if you're going to be a man at a swinger party, be a man.
The outfit you just described is not like there's no camo in that.
Well, it's hunting. I mean, if it was camo or honey, but I mean, they also make camo under thermal shirts that you wear underneath.
Yeah.
God, I can't think of what that's called. Like long underwear style. But they're camouflage, so it's more like to be worn on the outside, and those shirts fit tight.
It is funny to me how we keep bringing up the camo theme, but it seems to be...
I feel like that's a theme that men can do.
It seems to be a common theme, too, in the fall, especially around here in Michigan and whatnot, in fall states where there's a lot of fall activities that are going on, football and hunting.
But I mean, men aren't going to participate in the schoolgirl outfit. What are you going to be, a teacher? I mean,
no.
So that's not like a day to participate.
Beach themes are pretty popular, and so for a beach theme, just...
Trunks?
What would you like to see in a beach theme?
I like the European bathing suits. I think are hot if you've got the body for it. Then
those little...
Bust out those little European bathing suits. I'm not talking a Speedo.
Essentially like the boy shorts style.
Yeah, they're kind of like... They're like the underwear.
Like
yeah. The tight boxer look, or even... They kind of look like boxer briefs, too, if you get the shorts style. Those are hot. And wear that with a tight tank top or a tight little shirt. So men can participate in themes, too, but... At least from my perspective, just make it look like you put some effort in. Don't wear, and if it's Halloween, don't wear like what we saw at the last Halloween party where someone was Jesus. And I think I mentioned that he happened to be pretty hot, but he was Jesus, so there was no body showing. He was in robes.
Yeah.
And then someone else was a gnome with like a foot-length beard.
Well, that goes back to
Be sexy.
It's tough to find the sexy costume for the guy, so that's probably whoever that was probably just found a funny costume somewhere and was like, well, I'll go with that.
Well, that's where, I mean, you were a SWAT officer, and that was hot. Like, for me, a man who's wearing a costume that shows a position of authority or a position of sexiness, a dominant position, is sexy. But not a superhero costume.
Yeah, that's one, even though we have a lot of interests that include comic books and things like really geeky sci-fi things we're into. There is no part of me that finds superhero costumes hot on women.
Right.
Now, I have seen the occasional
Batgirl costume. I think you saw that was hot.
I've seen occasional costumes. For the most part, I would Halloween or a superhero themed party would not be one that I would want. Be looking forward to.
I just feel like a bunch of spandex just wouldn't work out well.
Yeah. So,
I think we've covered swinger attire pretty well. I mean, it's basically be comfortable, be sexy, and push your boundaries a little bit to try and be even sexier. Before we move on, I wanted to talk about, so we talked about like worst themes. I don't like the schoolgirl, but then favorite themes. We've already mentioned Halloween a number of times. That's always... Yeah, I mean, every swinger party is a Halloween party, essentially, for swingers. Just like I said...
Especially for the girls.
It's an opportunity to act out new fantasies.
But I want to give a highlight to the blacklight parties. Blacklight parties are so hot.
That was fun. It was unanticipated how fun it would be.
You get some glow-in-the-dark body paint or neon color clothing. That is hot. I know the last blacklight party we were at, you looked...
And the photo ops were pretty cool, too.
You looked amazing. Yeah, you can get really cool... Yeah, have we mentioned that it's pretty common at hotel parties? I think we had...
For there to be a professional photographer there? Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it, but...
Yeah, that's...
At least the ones we've been to, that's how it's been.
That's a pretty common thing, too. And so, the blacklight
Take advantage of the sexy photos.
Oh, yeah.
And let them... Those photographers know what they're doing. Let them pose you. If you're not sure what to do, just let them pose you, because they know what's
good.
Sexy.
They know what's photogenic and is going to look good.
Yep.
And so it's always cool to get a little snapshot of the night and to remember that night. And sometimes it's included in the party's fee, sometimes it's not. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to give a shout out to I can't really talk about any specifics of clothing attire, but it's always hot.
White looks really good in a black party.
You just see a bunch of sexy ass women just dancing and they're glowing everywhere. It's really, really good.
Well, white clothes glow pretty well. Be aware of anything that might have spooge on it. Yeah, it's true. Like, it'll glow.
So I think that pretty much covers sexy attire. A little shorter topic this week. So
short but necessary. I know we've been looking forward to talking about swinging attire for a while.
Yeah, it's an essential part of the swinging lifestyle is getting getting dressed up essentially, and the clothing is actually a decent part because
and we have fun going out and shopping
talked
for
about
new clothes.
planning. Whenever you go to a party, you're going somewhere overnight. You pack so many clothes because you're not sure what's going to go on. I think you mentioned 3 or 4 outfits
per day. Yeah, absolutely.
You pack all that, and so clothing is actually a pretty big.
Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning too that you should get your partner involved in what you're wearing. I know, yet again, another sitcom trope is for the woman to ask the guy, how do I look in this? And for him to say, oh, you look good. Or for the woman to take it personally if the man doesn't compliment her. But I really think that, again, to maintain those open lines of communication, you should really ask each other, what do you want to see? I know Cal asks me all the time, we have a party coming up, what should I wear? What do you want to see me in? What would be hot? And sometimes I tell him, honestly, I have no idea. You pick something out, and I know that frustrates him. And I ask him, what do you want to see me wear? And he almost always has something in mind. So, not always, but... And if we don't, we go shopping together.
Yeah, shopping and...
Which I know men don't like to shop, and that's understandable. But women, we can make it simple for the men. We pick out a few outfits, narrow it down to 1 or 2, and then say, hey, come check this out. Which do you like better?
No, but I always get excited when it's time for a new party or a new theme, or you've just decided, hey, I'm going to get something new for this party. Because I love, I'm not a huge shopper myself, but I love seeing whatever you've gone out and shopped. And you could spend $1 million on shoes, and I wouldn't care because I am a shoe guy. I love seeing you.
We get them through catalogs now.
I guess, we didn't even actually talk about shoes that much. I mean, I guess from my perspective, I just like to see women in hot, sexy shoes. I guess
sex stores are great places.
I wouldn't say I have a shoe fetish or anything, but that is something that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it as a fetish because the shoe
alone doesn't do it for you.
The shoe detached from a woman does nothing for me, but a hot shoe, a woman in high heels, oh my God, that is.
Yep.
That is.
It's not unusual for me to keep the heels on when we do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fucking with heels on is...
I think I see a little hint of a boner now.
So, JB, with that, shall we move on?
Let's move on to a little bit of sexy news.
All the American troops pulling out help the situation?
No. So if you think you want the money shot of them with their arms in the air, you're going to get it. It's in both of their self-interest right now.
You say the money shot?
The money shot, yeah.
And Belinda, I just can't understand how something so small can be so impressive.
Well, Mark, you would know about that.
So this is our segment where we talk about some of the sex in the news topics that we've come across since we recorded last. So, one of the things I wanted to mention is that Harry Reams... unfortunately, he passed away on March 19th. He's the star of the 1972 classic film Deep Throat.
That's unfortunate because he really paved the way for male porn stars.
Well, he paved, he was somebody who had to battle for First Amendment rights and for censorship.
Yeah, I mean, he went to jail for porn.
Yeah, he was indicted for and prosecuted for obscenity.
Well, actually, I can't say that I know that he went to jail for sure. I'd have to look into that more. He was prosecuted for it, and there was quite a ruckus, you could say, people trying to raise money to cover his attorney fees.
Oh yeah, it was a big deal. He
support him and support our First Amendment.
He became the face of censorship for a while. Him and there was a lot of other individuals around that time, but he was one of the biggest names in terms of the early rise of porn and the early awareness of censorship in films. And
that was back when porn was actually showed in theaters, and you had to go to a porn theater to see it.
Yeah. I actually, and I should know my history better. I think Deep Throat was actually screened at some actual regular theaters late night when
because it became so popular.
Yeah, it became it swept the nation. It was a big phenomenon and one of the earliest.
The plot of it was kind of ridiculous too, which I think contributed a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't actually sat down and watched it. We have Deep Throat. We just haven't actually.
I mean, we know the basic plot.
Yeah, the basic plot is a woman who has her clit is in her throat. and so she has to deep throat to get off. And I believe Harry played a doctor the doctor who diagnosed her, and also made sure to provide her with pleasure. And
it's an unfortunate loss for the pornographic world,
and I don't remember
the sexual world in general, and First Amendment rights, really.
Exactly. I don't remember what episode it was. There was a whole entire big subplot of Swingtown that was dedicated to.
It was towards the end of the season.
Well, it wasn't a long season, anyways. But so it was like episode 6 or 7, where they spend the entire episode fundraising for Harry Reams's fees, his legal fees.
And that's actually when Susan, one of the main characters, went against her husband's wishes by going to the party and watching the film, and it was the kind of marriage where he dictated what she would do and what she couldn't do, and she said, "You know what? I support this cause, and I'm going to do it anyway." It was a great moment in the show.
And all the news said that he died of unspecified causes, so that's actually a little mysterious. I don't know what it was, but
I thought I saw that he had cancer.
It wouldn't surprise me, but no, the couple articles I read just said that it was undisclosed for personal reasons. It was most likely cancer, but I mean, who knows actually what it was?
I don't know. I guess for some reason I thought I saw pancreatic cancer, it could have been. There's been plenty of other deaths recently.
If you're interested in learning more about Harry Reams and about the movie Deep Throat, we watched I think it was on Netflix, a pretty good documentary called Inside Deep Throat. I think it was Netflix regarding that film. So
I remember that, and it was great.
Check it out. So check that out, and it's too bad about Harry.
Yeah.
So the other thing I saw just today was that Bill Gates and his wife, through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are sponsoring the look for the next great condom innovation. And
that's great, because there hasn't been really any innovation in condoms.
The thing is let me finish describing it, and then I'll talk about why.
We did talk about smart condoms a few episodes ago.
Yeah, why it's questionable.
Smart contraception, I should say.
But so I believe that they're gonna provide. You can submit your designs for the condom, and I think if they select you, then your design, they'll give you $100,000 for further development, and then once you get past a certain point, then they'll even fund you $1 million for more funding towards that.
For prototyping and testing, $100,000 is nothing, and in the medical device realm of things, $100,000 isn't going to get you very far.
But my issue, and let me read this directly. So they want to make sure, like, their motto is that they want to preserve or enhance the pleasure so as to increase uptake and also promote its regular use. And so,
increase uptake. You mean just improve the number of people using contraception in general?
Yeah. Just that's what I mean.
Barrier protection, I should say.
Yeah. So, and it's great. It's actually pretty cool to hear about Bill Gates, somebody he does a lot of philanthropy, and a lot of his money goes towards charities, and so that's something that's really you always hear people talk about really kindly about Bill Gates and how charitable he is. I mean, I guess when you have that much money, hopefully you are charitable, but
on the flip side, there's a lot of tax breaks if you need to donate to charity. It's either your money goes to charity or your money goes to income taxes in some ways, just because charitable donations can be tax deductible. So,
and I don't want to
not to take away from him or get into a political debate, but
I probably shouldn't even mention this because I could be 100% wrong, but I think I've heard that he is. Actually, I'm not sure, so I probably shouldn't. I think I've heard that he is he's leaving his children. Like his children are never gonna be poor, guaranteed. But he's just
that he's limiting the amount of funds that they can have. I've read that too.
I mean, he's gonna give them a fraction of the money that he has. I mean, they're set for life. Probably their kids are set for life. But for the amount of money that he actually has, they're not going to get barely any of it.
I heard it too because it was. I remember it bordered on. It was like borderline scandalous that people were like, "Oh my gosh, he's not giving his kids anything." When I'm sure it was on the order of millions or tens of millions, but it was still like substantially less than he could afford to give to them. But good for him. And I mean, as far as the condom research goes, It's great that he's putting money into it. I think we don't particularly use condoms, at least not at the moment, because we're not full swapping. But I know I can feel when a condom's there, and it would be nice if it was less intrusive.
Yeah,
at the same time, for us, it's the use of it is worthwhile for the benefits that it provides.
New research, and don't get me wrong, new research into better ways to provide pleasure while also keeping people safe is fantastic. But
are there other things that he could be putting money into that are more worthwhile? Probably.
Is there really going to be a giant innovation with condoms? I mean, you're making them thinner, maybe less.
I don't know.
You can't feel them less, but
if
it's almost like...
people could think outside of the box of different ways to catch sperm coming out of a penis. I mean, that's the thing, is he's looking for the next great innovation. I mean, if you think about Apple and you think about what the products that have come out of Apple, they've solved problems before we knew that there were problems.
The difference is that he isn't looking for the next great prophylaxis. He's not looking for the next great spermicide or ways to block a woman from getting pregnant or to block STDs. What he specifically is saying is new ways to innovate the condom, not new alternatives to a condom.
Well, I mean, he's calling it a condom, but it could be a really broad sense of the term condom. Just like a tablet is, in a broad sense, still a computer. A smartphone is, in a broad sense, still a computer. You could still call that a computer, although we've given them different terms and names. The same could apply to condom. You use the word condom to apply to an invention that has yet to be invented, so it doesn't have a name yet. Tablets weren't called tablets until after they were invented.
I suppose. I mean, there are words like contraception or contraceptive,
prophylactic.
Prophylactic.
Yeah, but he's using a common term for the common man. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, it seems like that these specifically means condom. I mean, and I'm all for advancing that technology, but it's almost like other than getting thinner and trying to make it so you feel it less, what innovation could there really be?
I don't know.
Although I guess that's not for me to. It's for somebody who's smarter than me to come up with that innovation. Mm-hmm. So it is good, but I do have that reservation. But who knows? In 5 years, we could be full swapping with the new Bill Gates condoms.
I doubt it would be 5 years, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. You're the one who works in the.
I do work in the biotech industry.
You're the one who knows about how long it takes to actually get a product out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something like a condom would come out a lot faster.
All right. So 10 years.
Device.
10 years from now.
Maybe faster. I don't know. It depends on what it is. I mean, it really depends on how innovative the ideas really are. But $100,000 out the gate is probably not much.
So the next topic that I want to talk about was I saw that and I'd never heard of this. It's been around since 2008, but the G-spot injection.
No, I haven't heard of that.
It's a procedure that
doesn't sound pleasant.
It's a procedure that's was first introduced at the, let me get this correct, the Laser Vaginal Rejuvenation Institute in Los Angeles in 2008, and the article actually didn't have a ton of details, but what I do, from what I can glean, is that they inject collagen into the G-spot area, and that is supposed to...
So that's going to make it more plump, more full, more stimulated, I'm presuming?
And then it's going to, and I quote, allow women to want to get more out of sex. And so it was
want to get more? That sounds psychological to me. That's weird.
Well, I mean, that
doesn't sound like a great description.
Well, it isn't. It was a description of the women who want to get this done. They want to get more.
Oh, okay. So women would get this done, or people who want to get more out of sex.
And the article was very vague.
Are they alluding to women wanting to squirt?
No, I don't know what it was, and I should have actually taken the extra step to research more. I only saw the one article that I came across that
talked about this. It'd be interesting to come across. There's got to be a medical journal article, or there's got to be a few supporting this before it would become a well-known or advertised concept. I'd love to read a case study on that.
Unfortunately, I don't even know what the injecting the collagen does, if it makes it so that you feel more stimulation, you stimulate more nerve endings. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if maybe you'd get to maybe you'd be stimulated faster because you're already maybe partially engorged, or some of the areas that fill with liquid are already full. I don't know.
I do know that unlike lips, where I actually was just reading, I think last week on, I forget her name, but that's one of the celebrities who got collagen onto her lips and like 20 years ago, and she looked horrible, or she had these big giant lips, and
like Goldie Hawn style.
Goldie Hawn, but who was it? I forget who it was, but I was reading the quote, and she actually was saying that she doesn't that after a long time, like years,
it disintegrates.
For her they actually like made her lips hard. They hardened, and she was saying though that she had no career before her lips, then she had a career after her lips.
But if they harden, that can't be pleasant for a blowjob if they're hard.
Sorry for all of you out there. I cannot remember this actress's name, but it's like a Goldie Hawn lips or whatever. But unlike lips, this technology,
doesn't harden.
The collagen, no, it does disintegrate after it dissolves and only lasts 4 to 6 months. So then you have to go back in and get it done. But
they inject it with a needle because I don't want anybody coming at my G-spot with a needle. I'm sorry. I'll take the sex that I have now because that just sounds completely unpleasant. G-spot, needle. It's like men who get those penis injections. That cannot be pleasant.
Well, and it's also questionable because it was innovated at the Laser Vaginal Rejuvenation Institute. So I wonder if they're
probably cutting edge. I mean,
yeah. But I also wonder if they're involved in the controversial technique of the what's the technical name?
Where they like re-virginize you.
Well,
they give you like a fake hymen again.
That and also the
lip cut it, labia.
The labia shaping forming
for labia minora, labia majora.
For the women out there who have the longer lips. Although I don't mind that. You get a little slurpage in there. But
you can slurp all you want.
But that technique is incredibly controversial, and people go so far as to talk about that being, vaginal mutilation and vulval mutilation.
It makes a woman more comfortable with her lady bits,
but
more power to you. It's unfortunate that women would think that their parts that there's something wrong with them if they don't look like it. But I mean, it's no different than people who get a nose job or anything else. Like, if you don't look like the majority and you're uncomfortable with it, then just get it done.
I mean, that's true.
If you're going to be happy with what you are at the end, if that's what it takes.
It's the same thing as any plastic surgery.
Yeah, it's like getting a boob job or whatever.
It's the same thing where on an individual level, it makes you feel really good, but then it makes you feel really good about yourself, or can. But then there's always the discussion about the society that produced the individual who needs to or who wants to get this done to make themselves feel better or make them around them feel sexier.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's funny how we've been programmed. I mean, I don't mind longer lips, although they can be a little bit too long. But I don't think I'd recommend.
It might not always be cosmetic. I mean, it can be actually medical. If they're too long, you can have more difficulties keeping it clean down there. You're at risk of getting it stuck in a zipper. There's practical reasons.
That's true, but guys
too.
deal with getting it stuck in a zipper every day. No, but I talk about the vaginal or the labia reconstruction and I talk about that negatively, where, to be truthfully honest, I don't mind a boob job, and those look good, but then they can go too far, and you still have to wonder about, like I said, on an individual level, it's one thing, and then then there's also the other level about the society who's produced individuals who feel that this is what they want to do.
I'm not 100% convinced that it's entirely society either. I think people could be uncomfortable with what they look like, regardless of what they think they're supposed to look like.
Unlike boobs, where you can clearly see somebody's boobs through, I mean, not outright, but you can see through a shirt. You can see how I have small boobs compared to that woman who, even under a sweater, she's rocking a gigantic chest. You can feel self-conscious about that. But for the labia and the lips and
it could just be uncomfortable in your jeans.
Yeah, but you don't know that you're abnormal, except for women's, the generation of porn. We have a whole generation of guys who think they're too small
because you could be a porn star, you could be a dancer or whatever. Or it could just be that some other girls have seen you in the locker room.
But it's kind of the another side effect of the internet. I mean, many more women are watching porn now, as are men, and you get through porn, you start to feel self-conscious about yourself. I mean, there's countless.
I don't know if low self-esteem is 100% a byproduct of seeing what other people look like.
It's not necessarily low self-esteem. It's just I want to look like that. Instead of you see a bodybuilder, you might think that you're fine, but it's like I want to lift weights to make my muscle
I know. I'm just saying. I'm not sure that person's motivations are 100% because they want to look like somebody else. I think you could be unhappy with the way you look and not attribute it to being abnormal.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So you and I mean, if you listen to a lot of things we've said on this podcast, even tonight, we point our finger at society a lot, and I'm trying to take that back a little bit and say, well, it's not always society.
No.
So that's all I'm trying to say is we're not
not
society haters.
It does get to be really easy to
blame society.
because that's just a catch-all.
Yeah,
and
so that's what I was just trying to pull back a little bit on.
A lot of these things are multifaceted, and it takes there's entire disciplines out there to studying these social and psychological issues.
Yep.
So, the last one that I have is what? Oh, we're gonna skip. We're not gonna do sexy scenes.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm just running long. Because this last one is the one that I actually want to talk about, or it's because it's really interesting.
Okay, so no sexy scenes today.
Yeah, and you introduced sexy news, so
that's fine.
You didn't introduce sexy scenes, so the last topic that I wanted to talk about was the site PornMD. Is just a porn search engine, like ClipHunter or YouPorn or any of those porn search engines. They put out and I saw this in Popular Science. They put out a infographic, like a picture of. Oh, you saw this too? Mm-hmm. Of the top porn searches by state in the United States and by country for the world.
It's really interesting.
And it was fascinating.
Highly recommend you go check it out.
It was fascinating.
There are some weird searches out there.
Hawaii
really stands out.
They're not weird because
it's different.
They're not weird at all because these are the top 10 searches by state and by country, so they're not weird at all. They're the
norm. But I guess what I'm saying is there are some searches in other countries that are popular that, even to me, are different than what I would have expected.
It's just fascinating to look at them. So here, let me read off some of these. So we'll start off here where we live in Michigan. These are the top 10 searches in order, according to PornMD for Michigan. MILF, teen, cream pie, a favorite of yours, I know.
Go cream pie. And actually MILF, too. We just watched American Pie. Well, American Wedding. I mean, it's term coined by that movie franchise.
By that series. So, okay, cream pie, college.
Cream pie is number 3. Wow, I can't get over that.
College, amateur, POV, so point of view, compilation.
That's a big word. Go America.
What?
Compilation.
Oh, well, people love to see a bunch of things strung together. I see the cum shot compilations all the time. You don't come across them?
To be honest, I go to YouPorn, I go to group sex or gay or bi or anal, whatever category I'm feeling in the mood for, and I don't venture out.
Well, in the world of...
And I definitely don't Google anything for porn.
I come in the world of straight, what I like to watch porn, I come across, I have
come across cum shot compilations.
Actually, like...
And blowjob compilations.
Maybe last weekend I actually watched a compilation.
I prefer a longer clip of, just one clip as opposed to a compilation. I don't want to watch, 20 spoon shots. I need to see the sex up to the cum shot. I don't want to watch just, bukkake.
Instead of watching one...
Doesn't get me off.
Instead of watching one girl getting fucked, maybe I want to see 10 clips in a row.
5 seconds of 10 different girls?
Well, that's usually, yeah.
I'd like to see the story progress a little.
I don't mind the compilation. So let's getting back to this. So compilation, lesbian, hentai, and anal.
Hentai?
Hentai is the Japanese, anime style porn, where it's animated, and it's quite often, it's not what I'm into, but it's very, very popular. It's, and quite often it has...
I believe Rebecca Love has said that she likes it a lot.
Yes, the porn star Rebecca Love, her and porn star Katie Morgan run a podcast called, what is it?
Having Sex with Katie Morgan.
Having Sex with Katie Morgan, so we recommend that. It's a humorous... It's pretty funny.
It's a questions-based podcast.
And it's run by the ex-porn star, not ex, she's just retired porn star, Katie Morgan, and her husband, and Rebecca Love is on there quite a bit too, she's retired, she's still doing stuff, I believe. But, so those are the top 10 in Michigan, and across the United States, those are pretty stable. There's a couple of things that pop in and out. I was looking.
In Hawaii, they actually looked for Hawaiian girls.
But Ebony's one that's pretty popular. What's interesting enough, I found that Kentucky, the number 1 search in Kentucky, was free gay porn. which I don't know why that is.
Hey, maybe there's a lot of women out there, because when I first got into porn, that was my number one search key in AOL.com or in Yahoo or Ask Jeeves. That's what I would look for.
I just found that fascinating that it was Kentucky, I guess, just because there's a lot of, the stereotypical what Kentucky
a little bit more
is.
Conservative of an area.
It wouldn't seem like it would be free gay porn. That would be the intuition would just say that it would just be more of a liberal state where that would be. But
I'd be curious to link search terms back to laws, because like the state of Alabama, sex toys are illegal and there are sex shops are illegal, I believe. So it'd be interesting to link, to look at states that are similar to Alabama or states that are more conservative or have more conservative laws with respect to sexual objects and how that changes their search terms. Mm-hmm. Because if you can't get your hands on gay porn easily, you can't go to a adult movie store or whatever and pick up gay porn. You got to look for it more. I mean, Michigan, you can go to any local sex shop to pick up porn. Mm-hmm.
So some of the other ones. So that's kind of a snapshot in the United States. Michigan's
MILF in Michigan. Huh.
Michigan's pretty. It's pretty standard. It's what was popular in Michigan is popular pretty much throughout the country.
Have you ever done a search for MILF?
Of course. Come on, I'm a younger swinger. I like me some older ladies.
You do. By older, you're saying like in the 40s, which is prime time swinger
MILF
age.
and cougar are definitely terms that I have looked for.
You've looked for cougar?
Of course.
Oh, man. I'm only going to get better with age for you then. And the fact that I'm pregnant, I'm really only getting better with age.
So just for some other humorous ones for other countries, in Iran, one of the top 10 is gay hotel businessman.
I would search for that too.
No, that seems
all these oppressed women. I'm
gay hotel
assumptions.
businessman. And then in the one of the top Ukrainian searches is gay raincoat porn. What is raincoat porn?
I don't know. I wonder if it could be
putting on the
similar to like what we have here, where it's flasher. I wonder if it's flasher. They're not wearing anything underneath.
And isn't raincoat a slang term for condom too? I don't know if it has anything to do with it.
I don't know if that.
I doubt it has anything to do with that.
In my head, I'm attributing it to flashers.
So those are just two of the funny ones. Like, what is going on in the Ukraine where gay raincoat porn?
It's number one.
So I think
free gay porn was definitely something I would look up all the time. I would have fit in Kentucky. And I'm talking about like in the 90s when you had dial-up internet and you'd have to get like really, really crappy poor dial-up speed videos where they're ridiculously pixelated, and they were almost always like guys who'd be wrestling in a gym and it would turn into sex. Hot. Yep. Those were the days of the chat rooms where people would just be like, anyone want a 69? And it'd be the randoms who wanted to sex chat. Oh, yeah.
You were...
Oh, how times have changed.
How many predators got their clutches in you back in the day?
I didn't pursue the chat rooms.
Were they predators? Like, they weren't predators so much because you were looking for it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that too often. I more or less just searched for videos that were hard to find. So, I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of pervs that I conversed with, but I would never have ever given anyone any real information, and that's. I mean, that's a dangerous subject and something that you definitely have to police now with children and be aware of and talk about. So I never had that conversation with my parents, but I had enough common sense to know not to do anything.
So we were going to do a sexy scene today, but we're running long on time, so I think we'll hold that over. We're always watching plenty of sexy stuff, so we definitely have stuff to talk about there. So
and I think we had a good news session this week.
Yeah, there was more interesting news this week, I thought, since our last show than normal.
Check out, was it Porn MD for those lists?
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show description when we post that later. So JB, take us out.
Okay, so. We'd like to once again ask you to send us in your emails. Send us questions, comments, stories, pictures, boobs, peen, whatever.
Definitely send us in questions. We have we had a number of emails we were getting for a while. Then that kind of slowed down people. Send us those emails. We're going to do an email show shortly, but we need some emails to do some email shows. So send us some emails, and I promise you we will get back to every email that we get, whether or not we actually get to you on the show, but we will respond to your email no matter what, guaranteed. So
So you can reach us at swinginaround@gmail.com. No G at the end of swingin'. You can find us on iTunes, on Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter, which is Swingin' Around. Again, no G at the end of swingin'. You can find our blog at swinginaround.blogspot.com.
No. And actually, I need
swingin-around.blogspot.com.
Swingin-around.
Yes, the dash is in there, and no G at the end of swingin'.
Yeah. So
I can't say that website.
Hopefully,
either.
hopefully you've either said it correctly on the past podcast.
Now we're both having podcast voice.
Hopefully you said that correctly on the past podcast because I caught it today. But yes, swingin-around.blogspot.com.
And is there anywhere else that they should reach us at?
We are on YouTube now.
Oh yeah, that's
you can check us out on YouTube. It's an experiment we're checking out. Because YouTube is pretty much for video, but you can get YouTube everywhere. You can get it on your phones, on your PS3, on your Blu-ray players. I think in your car sometimes. I think. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you can get it everywhere. So
it's not video based. It's just the audio, and the video is just our logo.
Yep. It's just another means for getting the podcast. As we mentioned, I believe last time, we have some ideas for some video content, some toy reviews, but that's a little ways off right now, and so. But right now, all of our episodes, as of this recording, all of our episodes are up on YouTube. So check us out there if you want another avenue for that. I don't know. I have no idea if it's gonna actually catch on with YouTube, but we'll see. It's everywhere. It's so easy to get it. So. And
lastly, please give us some ratings. We've got some great ratings. We've got some great feedback on iTunes. We'd love to get some more of that. Help us to increase our listenership and keep being able to deliver this podcast to you.
All right, everyone. Stay sexy and stay swinging. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Swingin' Around, episode 11. Shoot.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, I messed up.
We haven't had an outtake in a while.
No. So.